Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking about honesty, integrity, and basically just being true to yourself. See, I've always prided myself on honesty. And if you ask my kids what the most important thing is, what's the thing I hate more than anything, and that is lies. I tell my kids constantly that to lie is to really steal something from someone that's almost impossible to get back. Well, for the last almost 40 years, I'm going to be 45, so I wasn't born a victim, and I still am not a victim. I was for a long time. I'm not going to go into detail, but essentially, I was sexually abused as a child, and then I went into the military, and I made sure that I was in a position to protect children, protect soldiers from that kind of abuse. And I was a chaplain's assistant. And when I left there, I went to Boy Scout camp. I worked with my ex-wife, and I was there to help make sure those kids were safe. And then I became a youth minister, and I made sure that all those kids had a safe place. And I spent a lot of time protecting children, and from afar. And in 18 years of doing youth ministry, we've had to do a lot of these trainings, and some of the trainings that I did in the military, sexual harassment trainings, all that. But we have this safe environment training within the Catholic Church where you have to go in and you watch videos, you do the background check and stuff. And in those videos, almost everyone says something that would stab me in the heart and make me feel like less of a person. And they would start to describe what an abuser looks like. And they would almost always describe me. And so I sat back as an abuse victim thinking, I must be an abuser too. Man, am I living a lie? Because they would say stuff like, well, the typical predator will have been abused themselves. Red flag goes up. And so all of a sudden you start to hear all the other things that sound like you because you've connected immediately with that. And then you hear things like they like to be around kids. Well, if you're a youth minister and you're called to that, or you're a teacher and you're called to that, yeah, you like to be around kids. And the only people that have to take these classes are the people that are around kids. So when you feel like you are called to go help children, and then you go sit in this class and they tell you that if you're an abuse victim, you're more likely to abuse these children, and then you sit there and think to yourself, I'm not really being honest. I'm lying, and I can't share that because there's this thing called shame. And shame has this really weird way of getting on top of us and making us think that we are less than we are. It is that constant irritating sound in your ear saying you're not worthy, you're not worth it, you're not good enough, that's not for you, that's not for you, that's not for you. And in my entire life, that's what I heard. And the very people that were supposed to protect me convinced me that they were the heroes and they were the good guys. And now at 44 years old, about to be 45, I have finally spoken my story into the world. And you see, the thing is like my story is so skewed because I'm remembering the memories of a 5-year-old kid and a 6-year-old kid and a 7-year-old kid. The same age as my children now. And I feel this hurt and this anger and this want to protect my kids. And my entire life I was told I wasn't enough. That's for someone else. You can't accomplish that. There's no way. You're in a different socioeconomic setup. So yeah, that's it. I joined the military. I went, and all of a sudden I went from being this kid who didn't have a dad and had a mom that was just kind of everywhere and had been abused and accused of being accused of being an abuser and all this stuff. And I'm in the military thinking constantly that I am a fraud. I am telling these kids that they should go, they should be open. Come to me, tell me what your trauma is, and I'm going to protect you. Because I am at the front of the room. And most of the time, these kids that have experienced trauma, the person at the front of the room is the person that gave them the trauma to begin with. And how horrible is it that so many kids, so many thousands of kids that I dealt with, saw me on stage telling them to be brave and to tell their story and to tell someone. And here I was inside being held together only by God's love. Because all the love I had to offer was being spread in so many different directions, and I was searching for something that wasn't there. And then I left and I became this food trucker in this restaurant business. And as weird as it sounds, there's three things that I love more than anything as far as things to do. And that is to cook for my family. I see my grandparents. I remember my grandparents cooking. I remember my uncles pouring beer on a pig and doing a pig roast. And meals are beautiful. And they bring family together. And I love that God gave me the ability to cook a good meal. One that could not be a distraction from the person ahead of you. Because you see, a good meal shouldn't just be, I'm going to take a bite of this and it's the best thing I've ever tasted. A good meal should be, when you take a bite of it, it brings you to a memory that is amazing. And I want to be the person that creates that memory for you one day. So when you came to my food truck, I put so much love into that food that I wanted that taste to one day just resonate in your mind. And if you just tasted that flavor in some other food in some other place, you could say, this reminded me of a place that was wonderful. And I put that into every bowl. And as a food trucker, we were at these events, and we could make money, and we could turn over. And the dollars were never enough. At the end of the event, I would walk around and look, because we had special bowls. We had special bowls. So we had these nicer bowls than most food trucks use. Most food trucks use paper, styrofoam, all that. We use these nice reusable bowls. But they were throwaway reusables. But I would go and help pick up the trash for the entire festival. And everybody thought I was a really nice guy. And no, I was picking up the trash so I could look in it and see if people had thrown my food away. I never saw an empty bowl. I mean, a full bowl. They were always empty. And I don't mean empty like as in they got just the bowls were always empty. The only guarantee I ever gave to my customers, I said, I guarantee my food. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. That was it. And the idea was, if they don't like my food, well, maybe they'll try something else. Maybe something else on my menu is more to their liking. In 4 years, almost 4 years of doing that food truck, it was 5, I don't remember it. But in all the time we were doing the food truck and we were doing the state fair and all that, we only gave away one refund. We only gave back a refund. I mean, it was just one refund. That's all I remember doing. And it was because we used the spring. See, it's easy to remember. This beautiful young woman comes up to the window and says, "Are you trying to kill me?" And she looked angry. And was like, what? And I had made her this seared ahi tuna on a spring salad mix. It was delicious. We had made our own dressings, and it was a dish I was super proud of. And she looked at it and said, "Are you trying to kill me?" And I asked her what the problem was, and she pointed. And in the spring mix, when we had washed it, it was the pre-washed stuff, but we still washed it. That was our policy, and washed it. This little caterpillar had made his way into the spring mix. And it was there. I don't remember if it was alive or if it was dead. I actually took the spring mix and threw it outside in case it was alive. But I gave the lady her money back immediately, before she asked. And then I looked at her and said, "I am so sorry." I was like, "I hate when something like that happens." I said, "We use organic spring mix, and that's what you get with organics, right? You get live bugs." So I immediately gave her money back because I knew how much it cost. And then I said, "Can I please make you something else on me? May I please make a different meal? Can I do this one? Can I do another one of these?" And she looked at me and she said, "Sure." And I made her another meal. And she donated to our program that allowed us to never turn anyone away. See, this little kid that was abused and thought he was never good enough ended up having this really cool food truck that no matter what, you could go up there and get a great, wonderful meal made with love. And if you couldn't afford to pay for it, you still got the smile. So then I decided to open another truck. And I got a business partner. And unfortunately, right after that happened, I was in a wheelchair. And for the last few years, I've been getting my life back. And during that time when I don't have another focus, I have come to realize, and this sucks because only recently I have come to realize that all these dreams and all these things that I am chasing and trying to get to, they were never my dream. They were the dreams of other people because I wanted to please them, because if I could please them, they wouldn't hurt me. The physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the emotional abuse, all that sucks. But what hurts more than anything is receiving so much love from people when you finally come forward that you wonder how you ever survived without that love. And then you start to realize that love was constantly being showered on you, but because of your abuse, because of your shame, you didn't think you deserved it, so you deflected it. And so I made the most important decision of my life at 44 years old, and that was to come out and just tell the whole world that I was sexually abused as a child and then abused more later. I haven't said names because my family knows who it is. Unfortunately, since then I've had a cousin reach out, and it turns out there's a lot of cousins involved in my family. My family has some definite issues, as do most families. But the sad thing I keep hearing is it happened to all of us, get over it. That's the worst. The best thing I have heard was, thank you for telling a story I can't. And then I get calls from strangers that say, I can't tell my story because if I do, it will make a family member mad. So I said in the early video, we are stuck protecting people that didn't protect us, that were supposed to protect us, and yet we allow that shame to protect them. So I dropped a big A-bomb on my family, and luckily it was easy because on Facebook, I know every single person that's on my Facebook. I just know them all. So if I want to drop something there, it's not like the whole world knows right away. I created Facebook to be that, to speak to my family and people I know. And I just did it. And it turns out it was a really good decision, because I just had the first business meeting of my life for the most money in my life, not having a whole lot of financial support from family. And for the first time, I was able to look that person square in the eye and say, I'm not perfect, but I am worth it. Until next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.